Hi, how are you?
Hello,
Hi. Hi, everybody.
how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Tammy?
I am good.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, definitely. So, I want to ask you, you've got all of these letters after your names. Can you tell us about what those letters are?
Sure. Let's see. I have to remember which ones are there, but on the it's not on the card. Okay, great. So the first one you'll probably see is my MBA in healthcare management, and so I'm really all about people and helping them with their business and helping them with taking a look at the things that are going on and making the changes and shifts in that regard. Um, the other, I've got my bachelor's in psychology. I have my Christian life coaching certification, so you'll probably see that. I have my hypnotherapy certification, so you'll see that. I'm an NLP practitioner, so you'll see that. And I'm also a licensed massage therapist. I do more training and guiding with stretching and things like that than the actual practice anymore because I have wrist issues. So you'll see that. Um, so yeah, I think that about covers it.
That's great. That's great. So your topic is on revive your relationship, starting with yourself, which is always a good place to start. You take care
Yes.
of you first, then you can take care of the other. You said the subconscious
Yes.
you have created in your past are hurting your relationships and causing you to choose ineffectively. Learn how to correct this instantly. I love that. So many of us carry stuff we don't even realize what we're carrying with us. You know, some of us do, but some people
Yeah.
really don't know what they've got until maybe even 20, 40 years later, and then something triggers something, and all this stuff comes up. Who knows where it's from? So I'm going to let you talk and maybe ask some questions along the way, but maybe kind of explain with these subconscious beliefs. You know, what might they be if somebody's looking like, well, I don't have any problems from my past. Um, maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Yeah, the interesting thing is they can show up in so many ways. So, for example, three areas that I focus on with my clients is their health, their relationships, and their business. So, for example, with health, we watch our mothers, and moms have this thing of, I'm going to sacrifice myself for my family, right? And so, what children learn is women are supposed to sacrifice themselves for their family. And our culture has that as well. And so that is not only our subconscious belief, but it's our cultural subconscious belief. And, some of it's done on purpose, but a big part of it's just underneath. People don't even realize it's their belief until they're like, wait a second, did I just say that? So it shows up in that regard. And we may be in conversations with ourselves like, oh, I don't have enough time for that. And that, if you were to look at it, is saying, I don't have enough time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it creates this experience of harmful conversation without even meaning to, because that's the way we grew up. That's what we've learned. And sometimes it could be a child being told no all the time. No, we don't have time. No, I don't have time to do that with you. No, we don't have enough money to do that for you. And so, even though life may seem perfect, and I don't think I'm thinking anything negative about myself, I don't ever spend any money on myself. I don't spend time on myself. Self care, what's that? I sleep. So it can show up in so many conversations, even when we think we're fine. And that's just the health piece. As far as relationships, we might have this experience of, um, I'm in a relationship, but they do what they do, I do what I do. I don't really need anybody. So it's like a relationship, but not really. Or I've heard either a husband or a wife say to me, I don't feel heard. I'm never heard. Or, I always have to do everything myself. I don't get help here in the house. Right. And so that's such a core belief that they don't even realize the way they're asking, they're not really asking. Or the way they set boundaries, they're not really setting boundaries until they're way past angry and now they're just yelling. And that's not really setting boundaries. So those are just a few ways.
Oh, so what are some steps that people can do? I mean, most of us, gosh, you mentioned so many things. Where do we start? Maybe let's start with relationships. Like you said, I've been working all day. I do all of this stuff, or I work outside. I come in and the spouse, whichever spouse it is just sitting watching TV all day, or I'm working hard at work and I come home, dinner's never ready. Is that all part of negative past, or is that, I mean, that just, you kind of just
yes,
brought up a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's part of our belief. So if we have a belief that the woman or husband, depending on how we grew up, that person is supposed to have dinner ready by 5 o'clock, that doesn't work that way, because maybe that was a stay-at-home mom, but the person they're married to is working as well, right? Or if they're supposed to be team, but they haven't set expectations with each other of what team looks like, they may not know. Well, I feel like I'm helping you. I'm the one cooking. I thought you doing the dishes and the laundry would be fine because I'm the one who fixes the cars. Well, if you don't talk about it, then you may not be on the same page. One person might be only seeing all the housework getting done by them. But when you take a look and go, oh gosh, we actually are doing a lot. You're doing a lot over there, and it's actually taking the same amount of time, and this is taking me over here. Yeah, okay, I see that. But it's until we're able to talk about it, we have a belief that says, I'm doing all this by myself. This wasn't what my relationship was supposed to look like. Now, on the other side of things, there are sometimes people who grow up, little girls or little boys, we grow up into being taken care of our whole lives. That happens too. And so then we get into a relationship and it's just supposed to be the same thing. So we don't realize we're bringing along a story because we believe it to be true. It just is. This is what you're supposed to do. So we don't even know to break it down as a story or break it down as a belief, because it is so much a belief that is true for us. So once it's broken down, once we're able to have somebody take a look at it in a loving, non-judgmental way, we can go, oh gosh, I didn't realize I was doing that. And then come to the point of going, this is a relationship. I wanted to have this relationship. How can I come to a middle place with this other person? Sometimes it may have to mean doing a lot of changing. If I think I'm supposed to sit around and my husband's supposed to cook and clean and take after me and, help me with the kids as well. And all I do is I do my business, but, that's it, right? He's supposed to do everything else. I'm the worker. No, that's not what the expectation was. That's not what you guys agreed to. So let's come take a look at what's the expectations and what you guys agreed to. Now, if that's what one partner wants to do and they're cool with that, then great, you've got no problem. But if that partner's in this space of I'm the maid, I'm being taken advantage of, I'm being used, doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. It's about how the person feels. It's now creating a new expectation understanding. I expected this and I realized that was unfair. So let's come to a middle ground and create the change. And then what we also have to do is help the other person learn how to ask for what they need. Because in most cases, if their needs are not being met, they're not asking, or they don't know how to ask so the other person can hear them. They might be asking like, I already asked you to do this. And that tone is just enough to make the person run away. But the tone is coming from frustration, so you can understand both sides. But until it's brought together, it's kind of like a game, right? So if I'm the host of the game and the two players are coming in, it's like this new experience. And now I let this player know what the rules are, and I let this player know what the rules are, and I say, okay, go. And then they play, and then we see how well they can play. And then we see how well they can do the rules. And then we go, okay, how do you think that went? And sometimes it's like, I hated it. I wanted to kill them. And then other times it's like, oh, I could see how that worked. And I could see how this worked. Then in other times it's like, we tried, but it just did nothing worked. And so then we take a look at, well, what did you try? How did you step into that? And we just kind of role play it out, which we don't have that experience ever in life.
Right.
And so we're able to see what worked and why, what didn't and why, and what we can do different. What can we create in a new way? So it's all about creating versus all these problems. And when a couple's coming to me, it's all about the problems. They can't even get to the place of creating.
Mm-hmm. Right. So
those are some things that helps getting clear. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I was just gonna say that's good to bring it up. Yeah, getting clarity and then going from there. And I'm thinking it's like, well, I could see this how it works in business. I mean, you can't bring in the people you work with, but what are some things you as an individual in your business can do? I mean, because it's you that everybody's dealing with. You're dealing with everybody else. Mm-hmm. How do you get that clarity when you can't, bring all your clients and your customers and your coworkers and your bosses all together with you? What can you do on your own?
Just to get clear on that question, you're asking me what I do when I have struggles with things?
Or just, in listening, right now, it's like, I can see this working for couples, but can it work for business? Can it work for individuals?
Oh, 100%. Okay. I get what you're saying. And so just to point out what I did there, we helped in clarifying to understand and make sure it's landing. So 100%, especially as entrepreneurs, what we do is us. We will take what we do into our business 100%. So if I don't ask for things that I need, I won't do it with my clients. If I do ask for what I need, then they'll understand. If I don't know how to get clear, I won't do it. Instead, I'll be like, I'm going to try to answer this the best way that I can without getting clear. And then we're both confused.
Right.
And so that totally could happen in business. People might take something personally. If a client doesn't text back right away, they might take it personally. And so now they're responding and it's, hey, what happened? Why did you? And it's like, no, people are real busy. Let's notice what has it for you when somebody's not responding back, right? That stuff comes up for me, like, oh, come on, I gotta finish my scheduling. Let me know what's going on. And it's like, hey, do you have other stuff to do? I do. Can you wait? Yes, I can. And then I'll go to do. But if not, I'll say to my client, hey, I'm actually figuring out my schedule right now as I text to you. I've got this time or this time. I want to give you the first dibs because I promised I would. Did either of those work for you? And if they don't let me know, I've got to answer the next call, and one of those times may be taken, right? So I'll let them know that, and then that's how it works. So I'm being clear, and if they lost the time they wanted, they get to use the other time, or we look at next week.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, so it's totally into business. There's so many different things. It's bringing that the understanding of your emotions, so you're not reactive. It's understanding of the negative thinking so you can clear that process out, understanding how to set boundaries. And none of this is easy. I've had to have coaches all along the way. I have had therapy in my life all along the way. I had a lot of my own traumas that I had to really work through along the way. And so I bring all of that work with me, and I've done tons and tons of personal development. My husband makes fun of me because everywhere, different hotels, he's like, and you did training there and there and there, because I've had so much training.
Awesome.
So it's also knowing you don't have to do it alone.
So if you were to give advice to somebody to start where they are, what would you tell them?
Well, since each person is starting at a different place, the advice would be to start at your beginning. So whatever your beginning is, the best thing is to take a look at the thing you feel like you're being limited with or blocked with, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your own health, whether it's your business. What's that thing that's blocking you? Everybody knows what it is. They'll be like, I know what the problem is. Write down what that problem is. Write down what you're thinking about it. Get clear, get it all out of your head. We think that our mind can do everything, but it can only hold about 7 to 9 units of information on the conscious level. And we try to hold all this stuff. And so it gets bogged down, it gets stressed out. When you put it on paper, you now open up this creative bubble. It's like an 8-ball, right? This 8-ball of answers, the 8-ball you can shake and the answer will come. That's the way your brain is if it's not bogged down with all this stuff. So jot it down and you'll actually begin to see you have a lot of the answers of what you need. So if you let yourself write down the negative thought and you go, what is that negative thought telling me? Look on the other side. What's the positive around that? What have I learned from that? What's true instead? And I'm not saying just be positive, because that's actually unhealthy. Looking at the negative helps you to get creative.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, puppy.
My Irish wolfhound just came in. Usually I have the doors unlocked so she can't come in. Well, I guess I didn't get one closed. So she's in here.
That's funny.
She's a puppy, but she's big. I'm sorry to interrupt your show. I love hearing what you're saying.
No, not at all. That's beautiful. Whenever I work with clients, anytime they have pets or children, they always want to come on screen. It never fails. The cat, you always see cattail walking around.
That is.
Yeah, it's great.
That's,
yeah.
You did bring up something really good. And, you know, everybody talks about, oh, think of the positive, don't think of the negative, be positive, you know, and once in a while, somebody will say, you have to acknowledge the negative that's there, or it's just going to keep coming back and keep coming back. And I think you kind of said that. You said you have to see the negative, but you see the positive around it. So maybe clarify on that a little bit more.
Absolutely. If you look on my website, it's sparkshope.life/resources. You're going to see there's an activity there on clearing your negative thinking, that it's positive, right? I use this example. You don't think anything about this. There's no emotion. It's just neutral. But if I asked you, what's the good side? What's the bad side? Would you have an answer?
Positive and negative, you know, they have a positive side, negative side. They both have to touch to work.
Correct. You wouldn't call one bad. And that's the same thing for people. People have the negative side and they have the positive side. They need both for the flow of energy to happen. We have to not only give attention to the negative side or notice it, we have to give it attention. What is this needing? What is this telling me? What is this guiding me to do? The example I like to use, and it's funny that you have your puppy there. If you had your pet, and let's say you had to use newspaper for a little bit because, you know, it's just learning. Would you put fresh newspaper over it and then call that clean? Or would you say, I need to clean up this mess? Because otherwise it's going to keep getting stinkier and stinkier and messier and messier. Right. Well, that's what we do when we try to just look at the positive. We're just putting clean newspaper going, oh, it's clean now. It's all better. Just keep putting. Oh. And it just keeps getting stinkier and stinkier and messier and messier. And there's less and less that we can handle. And we react faster and faster because this stuff is here, not being resolved. And it doesn't have to be such a stinky mess, but we're making it a stinkier and stinkier and stinkier mess. And instead of stinkier, for us, we're just making it more difficult, more difficult, more difficult. We're making it more difficult to experience. We're making it more difficult to live life. We're making it more difficult to understand each other because we're shutting down our thoughts. We're shutting down our emotions, calling them bad. And they're just negative. It just means they're uncomfortable. And the analogy I like to share, and any mom who's given birth knows this, the pain in your body is there to help you push the baby out, and you are so grateful. You want it out. get it out. Because it's gotten too big. Your body doesn't want to hold it anymore. There's a purpose for that pain. The pain is that if without the pain, the baby would stay, the baby would not make it, and mom wouldn't either, most likely.
Right.
So the pain is actually there to help you push through a very uncomfortable situation that you really want anyway. So if we realize that pain is actually a friend telling us, hey, something needs your attention, not, hey, let's get rid of this pain, it's bad, then we would actually be able to see, hey, things in life that are difficult or painful, they're here to help grow us and guide us and show us. So let's give it attention and let's step into what we want to avoid.
Oh, that's really good advice.
So it's essential. It is. Otherwise, you just got this stinky, slippery, nasty old mess.
So now that we've dealt with the stinkiness, let's go to the revive and choice part.
Yes. And that's the beautiful thing. Once the mess is taken out, it's refreshing. It's light. It's like, once you've done your spring cleaning, you go in and like, woo, the energy feels so good. I've got so much to work with. It's lemony fresh. And I like to think of it as just clearing out the mind, right? Taking out the mind trash. And I call myself the mind trash lady. We're just removing that out, helping you get it out. And it just feels good.
Yeah.
And in that, you bring the kindness. In that, you bring the compassion. In that, you're removing the judgment. You're removing the comparisons. You're allowing yourself to be able to see, oh, hey, when I do this, I'm speaking kindly to myself. I'm speaking kindly to my partner, to my clients, to my business partners. I'm speaking kindly to people that I want to refer to me. I'm supporting my body. I'm doing the things that help me to feel good. I'm feeling safe and comfortable with my negative thoughts and my negative emotions, realizing they're bringing me to a positive, wonderful place when I give them the attention. It's helping me to notice that fear is here to keep me safe. Anxiety is here to keep me safe. Anxiety is just a heightened level of fear. So if we realize that fear is just there to say, hey, I believe I'm not safe. What do I need to bring in safety? Oh, cool. Anger doesn't mean I'm supposed to lash out and be aggressive. 100% not. We've collapsed anger and aggression, and anger just means something's unfair. That's it. Anger is there to tell you that either this person is being unfair, or maybe you're thinking something unfairly about it. Like you think they should be knowing or doing something that they don't know to be doing, or maybe they shouldn't be doing. And once you get clear on it, anger goes away because it's just about being unfair. The same thing for grief. If we handle the loss that's going on, and instead of handling it in a way that says, I'm alone, I'm left, I'm rejected again, I'm heavy, I'm in this lost space and I can't get out, I'm in this prison, I'm in this heavy darkness. Instead, going, I love that I had this time with this person. I cherish every moment. Let me think of every beautiful time we had together. Let me talk to them because I know they're somewhere. Energy doesn't die. So when I share it, my energy goes out and they get it somewhere. So let me tell them about my day today. And let me, find other people that remind me of them and bless into their lives like that person blessed into my life. And it brings light. It brings joy. It removes the darkness. It helps us realize that grief was just talking to us to help us see what was needed. So those are just a couple examples of things that we, like fear, we're afraid to talk about. We think it's weak. Anger, we think is so powerful because it's tied to aggression, but it's really not. It's just setting boundaries. Being able to set boundaries in a calm, relaxed way instead of only when we're angry is actually very doable. And you'll also see on my website, on the same resources page, there's an activity for setting boundaries. And it walks you through being able to do it without having to be angry and in a very respectful way.
So thinking on that thought, sometimes in a relationship, there's one person who does want to move forward, who wants to make the changes, but the other person says, oh, everything's fine the way it is, whether it's because they're afraid of the change that's going to happen or whatever the reason. So can one person make changes that are positive without the other person?
Yes. And what I do when I'm working with an individual side of a couple is I help them know how to speak better to their partner. So
Okay.
they'll tell me, well, this is what I said, and this is what happened. And so I'm able to guide them into how their partner is able to hear them, based on what they're sharing with me.
Right.
So say, for example, if you said to me, they just don't listen. I talk and they don't even hear me. They're just watching the TV. Okay. So when are they not watching the TV? Well, at dinner time or right from work. So then find that to be the time to talk. And then you could set a boundary that says, hey, honey, and I walk them through the boundaries process so they learn how, and they have it with them so they can practice this. This is stuff to continue to practice. Positive statement. Hey, honey, it could be just that simple. When you say or do blank, when you're on the TV or when you're watching TV, and number 3, what I think and feel. When I speak to you and you don't answer me, I feel sad. I feel like you're being unfair. I feel kind of inadequate. I don't know what to do. And we kind of walk through, and they'll let me know they're probably feeling every single one of these emotions that's in that list.
Right.
So then they understand why they're so reactive, and being able to ask for what they need. Number 4, I need to know, how can we do this differently so I can talk to you when you're watching TV? What do you think? Number 5, get their feedback. So now they can go to their partner at a time they're not interrupting a show, creating an argument, asking for a plan that the partner could say, and we hope the partner says. So let's say it's the relationship's on a down, like not in the best space, and they say, I don't have any ideas. Okay, so if I'm going to ask them, what do you think your partner's going to say? And they might say, well, I think they're going to say this. Okay, so then what if you then respond to, okay, so what about this idea or this idea? Right. And what I would also suggest to them is let your spouse know that you're working with your coach so you can talk to them better.
Okay.
So now the person's going, oh, wait, what? This isn't coming from this person who's always getting on my nerves. This is coming from some other helpful means. Oh, I can hear it differently.
Okay. So
I can see your laugh. So you can understand that process.
yeah. So let's say maybe somebody has PTSD, or they have ADHD and nobody knows it, or they have something else going on, or maybe they're bipolar. Maybe there's things that physically cannot be changed, but I know that everybody has a mindset. How do you that may be a whole nother discussion too, but maybe a quick idea on where to start in dealing with someone, another spouse or a family member who is going through those types of situations. How do you address something without
each one is very different, just based on the person and the personality. Right. So I've worked with clients who have PTSD or spouses who have PTSD, but because they don't use it to be reactive and abusive, then we have a good space to work with. But if the spouse uses it as a reason to be reactive and hurtful, that's a whole other thing. So in that case, there's got to be a space of setting boundaries with the person that's hurting you. It doesn't matter what their reason is, because that person can learn, unless there's something that says they have and there are some people who can't learn, right? But if they can learn, then they can unlearn that behavior. Okay. And so they have to unlearn abusive behavior. There's never a good space or a good excuse for them to be being mistreated. And there are some PTSD, there are some bipolar, there are some depressed, there are some anxiety, there are some just narcissistic. There are so many clients who've had so many spouses who range in all of those. that if the spouse, now narcissistic, that one is almost impossible to work with.
Right.
But there have been a few that were not fully, but they had some diagnosis, but they were able, because they wanted the results so much, they were able to actually create some change, but it's not usual. It's not usual, because it was not their major diagnosis is what made it work. So if somebody is open to working with this work, it doesn't matter what their diagnosis is, they will get results.
Okay.
I'm somebody who is dealing with anxiety almost all the time. I'm somebody who deals with depression on and off consistently, but I've learned how to work with it. And I have also ADD, right? And it's very, very hard. It's so hard. Sometimes to the point of it's just like, what's your next step? Don't look at anything else. What's your next step only?
Mm-hmm.
And like coming to that place of that's it. That's all you're gonna do. Right? Stop. Right? That's it. That's all. That's the next. Don't even look over there. Don't look up. No. Like literally. And so sometimes I walk myself through it like a child because that's what's needed.
Right.
And it's okay. Being okay with the process that's needed. And that's why my clients love working with me, because I know where they're at. I'm working with all the same stuff myself. And I've been through major trauma and child abuse, and I've been through the foster care system. But what I see is I see the blessings that my parents were, because now I can work with people who've been through those pains. And I see the blessing that foster care was. There was a lot of pain of being taken from my home and placed in different homes and going through different rejection and different, parental, I don't know how to do it stuff. So then it falls onto the kid and, sorries that you might be sorry, I get it, but it still hurts over here kind of stuff. But what I see is people who wanted to love me and make a difference. People who wanted to try, judges and caseworkers. And I see hearts who just wanted to make a difference for little kids, even if they were screwing up so much of the time along the way. Because that's humans, that's human beings. But what a lot of people see is the pain. They're just re-experiencing the pain, re-experiencing. So they're hurting and they're attacking. And because they feel attacked all the time, because all they see is pain. And so if they let themselves do this work, they can stop seeing just pain and they can really make a change.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the lighter side of it, then there's people who just feel blocked and they just want to attain this relationship, or they just want to attain this level in their job. And they're just blocked by this particular belief or this particular thing. And they just need that to get to those next levels. And they need to let go of, maybe there's something wrong with me, or maybe, everybody else is just better. Right. So from the deepest levels of emotional to some things that don't seem as deep, this work works.
Excellent. Excellent. I see our time is running short. So if they find you, I see your business card behind you. That's very clever. They just go to Tammy at sparkshope.life. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, they can go there, and they can also call or text my phone number. And the sparkshope.life/resources is where they can go to get the resources that I mentioned. And any questions that they have, I always say there's no stupid questions. I have a live on Wednesday at 8:15 a.m. And so if they ever want to attend, if they have questions, I answer the questions live. So that way they kind of drive what the Wednesday is going to be.
Is that on your website?
So it's on my blog. The blog page is every Wednesday. It's on there. They can see that on sparkshope.life/blog.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they can also, which isn't on my website yet because I didn't think to put it on there. Sorry, guys. I have the Revive Your Relationship program. I do a free Friday. That's at 12:30. It's the first Friday of the month, and I'm going to be doing it every Friday with various topics just like this one.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. That was really informative, and hopefully everybody got something that that they can look at for their own life. I know you brought up some very good points that I'd never even thought about, and I think that's just great. So go find Tammy, get some help, and it's not just help; it's more like you're guiding what we have inside of us to make the better part of us, to get us to where we
Yes,
want to be in our life. And I like that. I like the guiding part of it.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you very
Yeah, I
much.
feel like I'm just helping people find what God has given them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's already there. I just need to let it shine.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I'm actually looking forward to if we can have you back on the show again sometime. And I'm actually going to go look.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
That's great. All right. Thank you for being on the show.
You're
Lions, look
very
for her
welcome.
information. We'll put it in the comments, and you all have a great day.